now at iFiber One. We're diving on deep to a great conversation, first of 2017, with Wendy Smith and Dick Taylor from the Port of Shelton for today's Port of Call. Good morning, gang.
Good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Boy,
sure.
The frost is on the pumpkin
You ain't
today.
kidding. And it will be here for the next couple of days.
Yeah,
as a
wow.
matter of fact, 29 out there right now. It is cold.
I know.
It is
Lord.
cold.
Yeah.
So, New Year, same commission.
Same commission.
No elections this year for the port, but you do have to vote in a new commission chair.
Yeah, we have to have our internal election, which we had our meeting yesterday, and that was one of the action items on the committee agenda, and we re-elected the slate as it is now.
Oh, so that means Dick Taylor continues.
Yeah, I'll be the.
What is that? What do you do as the chair?
Well, one of the things I do as the chair is I come here every Wednesday morning.
I mean, I
you
love
know?
this. I love this.
Well, but you run the meetings.
Okay.
I mean, you're the person that directs the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I work with Wendy on the agenda for what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If there's things, outside of the regular meeting that the commission appoints, someone to do, that's usually the chairman.
Oh, okay.
And so we work together to write a letter of support.
We write letters and do things like
Sure.
that.
But still,
It's
1/3 of a vote. You still got 33%.
Still 1/3 of,
There's no
of the
extra
overall vote for whatever's going on with, excuse me, with the port business. And it's it's kind of ceremonial,
Sure.
somewhat, other than just running the meeting, which is not all that difficult with us. I mean, we have a pretty easy group to work with amongst us, and so it's not a problem.
Compared to other municipalities around the area.
Or us in the past.
Yeah.
We've had some problems.
True. Well, what is on tap for 2017 for the port and all three of the big properties?
Well, let's see. So, as we've talked several times, our finalizing of the upgrades of the boathouse was, December 31st was the deadline, and so now it's up to us as staff to head down there, and we've done a bunch of inspections the last couple weeks of December to find out, who's people call in and said, I'm ready, and then there might be a few minor changes, but for the most part, everybody's upgraded. We had one boathouse go away early on. The rest of them are still working. There's a few that are still working on it. With a public entity like ours, the process is pretty easy for them. So we'll go down and we'll note that, boathouse X, Y, and Z aren't done, and then we'll send a letter. Well, that it's going to give them another 30 days to. So that's kind of the process, and I think they're all diligently working on that. So. Part of the issue is weather. I mean, it's so cold, and when you hit the cold, rainy season, it's really hard to paint a roof, that kind of thing. So some of the people got their roofs done, panel wise, everything else, but the color is not white yet, and so those are things that we're okay with. 6 months they need to get them, in the summer or whatever. But so that's just kind of a big process that still continues that we're still working on for the marina.
Other than upgrading the boathouses and telling that folks to do that, what other restrictions or regulations are? It has to be so many feet high a wall or thick or things like that. Is
it was
everybody the
mainly we were making sure that all the styrofoam was encapsulated. So most of them went and got the flotation tubs that they can purchase. They're I believe food grade in quality, and so they're most of them upgraded to that. There were a few that had some kind of tire system that actually is still an okay process, and so we allowed them more time to change that out because that's an acceptable process. And so then there was the burnout panels. A lot of them had panels in the sides, which means if there's a fire, it's going to go spread to your neighbor. The burnout panels need to be in the roof, so they had to put burnout panels in the roof. They had to have we required white for the metal so they could paint, or they could get white sheeting. There's items like the door, way to attach the dock. There was attachment points. There were things like the door had to swing to the inside, so when you came out of your boathouse you weren't knocking someone off into the water. But again, I think we had one boathouse with the door swung the other way, and I don't know that we'll ever, that's not a huge, people had to have emergency numbers on their boathouse, so if something was happening.
That's a good one.
There's quite a few little checklist items, some of which were definitely, far more important and crucial than others, but they're all, part of the game.
Yeah,
so
for sure. And then moving on to the airport or the...
Well, before we leave the marina, because there's some kind of exciting stuff going on there, we did an RFQ for engineering for the marina for hopefully we'll hire someone for a 5-year term, and that we did that likewise at the airport a couple years ago. And so any project we have going on, so they'll be tasked with, and we got 17, I think. Was that what I said?
I think so, yeah.
I think it's 17. I can't remember.
Bids.
That sounds...
Wow.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Qualifications.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot. I might be off. That just sounds high right now. But anyway, we got a lot of interest. And so from a wide variety of firms, from local, local being, like up north, kind of near Bellingham, or worldwide type companies. So it's a wide range, and now we'll go through their proposals they sent in and rank them, and we'll do that as a staff.
Yeah.
And then we'll decide if we want to interview, and we have the ability to sit down with a couple of them and interview and then pick one. Then you go out and do a costing, does it make sense, cost-wise, or is that a huge cost? So it's a good process, and we should have someone on board in the next, month, I'd say, and they'll be tasked with getting all our permits renewed, because all of our permits are going to expire here in the next month to 2 months, and so they'll be tasked with that, as well as formulating that new dock that has to be replaced on the south side. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. So, and any other changes. And I'm hopeful that these guys, this is what they do. And I'm hopeful that they will give us some good creative ideas on how to finance that. Because that's our big kind of underlying, question is, how do we finance that when we're so small as a marina? We don't have 1,000 slips like Anacortes or somewhere.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow.
So that's what's going on
That
down
is
there.
very cool.
Yeah.
And nice to get a bunch of bids here.
Yeah.
People seeing what's going on. All right. So
Right.
airport.
We're pretty quiet now that we virtually finished the run up. I think there might be, a few things left, but it's pretty quiet today. So I think for the time being, we have Tractor Supply coming, as our neighbor, and that's getting a little lively. There's people in orange vests out there all the time surveying and checking water and that kind of thing. So one of our tenants that uses our inactive runway actually had a storage unit right there on that property, and told me in December that he got a registered letter that they had to be out of those buildings by January 8th.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to come down, and that whole property will start to take place. So so that's kind of exciting. On port property itself, we're virtually full. We have one building that was just turned back by a tenant here recent, and it's about 3,000 square feet, and so we'll start to get that back in some fashion to where we can actually get it leased out, and so pretty quiet though.
Yeah, we had at yesterday's meeting we discussed the renaming of streets on the airport property.
Huh.
Dale Elman had visited us before the end of the year and suggested that we name streets on Sanderson Field after World War II carriers in memory of that. Sounds like a good idea. But
is it hard to change names like that?
It is not hard to change names. I mean, it's a stroke of a pen.
Okay.
But what you do is you change the address for your tenants. Which can cause considerable consternation for them and expense.
Yeah.
Because they change all their letterhead, all their mailing stuff,
that
everything.
Makes sense, yeah.
So, and we had one of the tenants came in and talked to us yesterday about that. Excuse me. So, I don't think that we will change the names of the streets that are existing. If there are new streets, we may consider that using aircraft carrier names. And it came up as a proposal, maybe naming some of our buildings after the carriers.
Okay.
Yeah.
For example, the old Baja building is a World War II building. I mean, why can't it be
that makes sense.
The USS Essex Memorial Building?
And that doesn't change the physical address.
No, it doesn't change the mailing address at all.
Oh, wow, that's a good idea.
So we'll be talking about that and moving on.
Interesting.
Well, and the tenant that talked to us said, if you're talking about, ships and maybe, docks or something down the marina. So there's lots of ideas without making it absolutely
that is a good point. I mean, you have to change just about everything online now, all the printing and
it's
and this tenant talked about just when he moved his building, it moved his address, and he has lots of overseas clients, and he's still getting mail to the wrong address, and things are confused. And
he said he's lucky the mail carriers know them and where they are.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But if it were a big city kind of thing, it wouldn't happen.
Turn it right back around. Return to sender almost. Wow.
Yeah.
So it has a larger impact in the service.
A great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe something to think fully for a little bit more.
Yeah, and the commission tasked, as staff, tasked us with kind of doing a cost estimate, and I don't know that we're going to do that because when we sat down to look at it, the cost for us is simple. You buy a sign, you take one down, put one up, but the cost for our tenants is astronomical.
Well, that's what you guys are in the business of, helping your tenants.
Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, interesting. Well, keep us updated on all that stuff. And finally, anything going on with Fraser or Metalworks or anything else up at the...
No, we're just, working on the pre-engineering stuff for the requirements for the curb, because that pre-contract, that was a 6-month process. So May is our deadline for that. And then I met with another tenant out there for to possibly go after some curb funding as well this month. And so... we'll see. Keep you posted.
Exciting. Yeah. Dick Taylor and Wendy Smith on for the Port of Call here on iFiber One News Radio. We'll surface on out of here. And then when we come back next week, we'll have another conversation with them. Thanks for coming in. Happy New Year.
Do you know you have access to the fastest internet in Washington State? Switch to iFiber Communications right now and take advantage of our special offers. Pay only $29.95 for 100 megabit high-speed internet, or get 3 months of internet absolutely free. That's right, $29.95 for 100 megabit speeds or 3 months of internet free. Shop, stream, and game like never before with iFiber Communications high-speed internet. Call 360-427-4000 or check us online at ifiber.tv. Subject to credit approval. Valid on a 24-month contract.